On the morning of March 2nd, 3rd Age 3019, 2 hobbits were dispatched to enact one of the most devastating attacks of terrorism Middle-earth had ever witnessed. At midnight, they blew up the dam above Isengard, flooding the city and crippling its infrastructure. Meanwhile, to the east, 2 more hobbits, disguised as enlisted men, smuggled the weapon to end all wars into the heartland of Mordor, hoping to detonate their payload and trigger a catastrophic seismic event that would cripple Mordor for centuries to come. And, as we all know, they were unfortunately successful, losing little more than a single finger in the inferno that was unleashed on the morning of March 23rd. The agents were airlifted from Ground Zero, practically unscathed. Meanwhile, the entire plateau of Gorgoroth was engulfed in ash, lava, and fire. I wish I could provide first-hand accounts, but sadly, no records exist. Why? Because all the residents of Mordor were destroyed in fire and ash. Not a single survivor. Not one orc, one Nazgul, one shadowy henchman, or strange, sentient bird statue thing. All obliterated in a single instant, in what historians have since termed Frodo's Massacre, the Hobbiton Holocaust, and Easter. Though I'm not really quite sure what they were celebrating, because as we've previously discussed, everyone in Middle-earth was pagan. Check out our video here for more on that. Perhaps was it the second coming of Elisar? What was the Hobbits' endgame in all this? Why would they betray their closest ally, the source of all their exotic goods and advanced technology, which was the source of their power? Independence. Like the United States and England, the Shire was just waiting for their opportunity to throw off the colonial, paternalistic yoke of oppression from their allegedly benevolent benefactor, to return to their previous longtime ally in the Kingdom of Arnor, or, as we know them today, Gondor. It's a little-known fact that during the War of the Witch King, the Hobbits actually sent an elite long-range military unit to fight alongside the human forces of the Kingdom of Arnor. After 65 years as a trading partner with the White Wizard of Isengard, the Hobbits clearly realized that they were being shortchanged by Saruman. What had started as a mutually beneficial economic arrangement had deteriorated into exploitation and isolation at the hand of the White Hand. They were being held back from becoming a central actor on the world stage of geopolitics. Rohan and Gondor had been on the decline for decades. There hadn't been a legitimate leader in the world of men for over 1,000 years. They were in need of a figurehead. Due to the rampant heightism of the time period, they knew they needed someone they could puppet from afar. Conferring with one of their other longtime benefactors, Gandalf the Grey, aka Mithrandir, aka Gandalf the White, aka Stormcrow, original alias Olorin of the Timeless Halls. Now, I've never been to the Timeless Halls, but that's too many names for an honorable person, in my humble opinion. The supposed Gandalf sourced a candidate of suitable political heritage and height. Next, they installed their puppet king, who immediately commanded the entire realm to bow to the hobbits, clearly signaling to all their newfound dominance over Middle-earth. Next, they returned to the Shire to perform the most important task of all, convincing Middle-earth of their innocence. So what do you think? Did the hobbits really assassinate all their political enemies, topple 2 regimes, and install a puppet king in a month? Well, my friend, if you're asking those types of questions, you might just need to dig a little deeper into the speculation zone. So what do you think? Did the hobbits really assassinate all their political enemies, topple 2 regimes, and install a puppet king in a month? Well, let me ask you this. Where did you first learn about the hobbits and all of their allegedly heroic deeds? Was it in a book? Written by one J.R.R. Tolkien? But who is J.R.R. Tolkien? No one important at all. Just a mere translator, an intermediary between us and the truth. No, friends. This book was written by the very hobbits whose righteous cause this book allegedly proclaims. Is The Lord of the Rings the greatest piece of propaganda ever written? Remember that Laketown was a dry run for the small, lean, surgical strike the hobbits would use later. It was also when the hobbits came into possession of the so-called One Ring, the most advanced weaponry ever developed in Middle-earth. And what did Bilbo do after returning home, pockets bursting with the weregild for his crimes? Write a book. A book obfuscating the involvement of the hobbits, demeaning himself as a witless tag-along of this troop of bearded foreigners off to reclaim their homeland, barely mentioning that this was all originating from and organized within Hobbiton itself by none other than the longtime Hobbiton political theorist and consultant, Gandalf the Grey. In a strikingly similar story, Bilbo's text describes a righteous crusade by foreigners to retake their occupied homeland and install the proper, shorter king, assassinating an occupier who had sat on said land for a generation without protestation from the local populace, and led to a thriving aquatic community, which would be destroyed when this hobbit and his strike team entered the region. So, what did the hobbits get out of it? The answer? Nukes.